right, you made the right choice to join us this very, very chilly good morning, straight from the heart of the city, Nairobi. This is New Day. Wake up! Wake up! It's a brand new day with new experiences, with new people to meet, with new conversations. Of course, my name is Tim Jiru. We've got everything you need to know about the stories that made headlines as late as 20 minutes ago and the stories that might make headlines in the coming days. We've got that and much more, and of course an amazing guest. Betty Adero will be with me in a short while. So sit back, relax, grab one of those hot beverages of choice. It could be dawa, it could be drinking chocolate, tea, masala, anything that you would want to have this very good morning. The New Day clock starts ticking right now. Right, in your headlines this morning, that's the standard double-edged sword for Uhuru and Raila. It's a different one, though. Right, governor took the grave, big economy plans. Yes, those were two headlines. The first headline we had was from the Standard newspaper. Let me just have that very quickly. Thank you. Horror crash robs Nyeri of another governor. You have that on the front page of the Standard, where we see scene of the accident where Dr. Wahome Gakuru was. We had reported that story yesterday when we were doing the traffic reports, and we had just talked about the accident just 24 hours ago. And it's just sad that Dr. Wahome Gakuru died, and it's really sad. I mean, that story again, it's also been highlighted on the front page of the Daily Nation. You see there, very jovial Dr. Wahome Gakuru there on the front page of the nation. It really feels bad that we've lost another governor. And then also it's highlighted again on the scene of the accident. Again, very horrific. Front page picture of the Star this morning. That's quite sad. And also on the Business Daily, we see Kenya Airways to pay ex-finance boss 144 million for sacking. I'll be coming to that story. It's quite interesting because it's caused a stir on social media. And also again, yeah, final bow for a soft-spoken Nyeri Governor Wahome Gakuru. And we can also see the widow at the Lee Funeral Home where his remains are. Quite a sad story right there. Right. Also pleased to let you know that I'm with Betty Adera. Betty Adera, an amazing lady, very jovial lady. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to New Day.
Thank you.
Wow, the news of the Nyeri governor.
Yeah.
It just, well, we knew he was going to survive after the accident. We didn't have all the pictures. I was actually giving up the traffic updates yesterday, and then news just got in. We showed our viewers the pictures from the scene, and then on my way out of the studio yesterday at exactly 9:30, 9:45, the wires, the internet was abuzz with that he was no more. What do you remember about Dr. Wahome Gakuru?
Well, I remember a very jovial guy. And I remember him to be a newly elected governor who had massive and grandiose plans.
Yes.
Not only for the people of Nyeri County, but also for the people of, the broader central Kenya region. And ultimately, by extension, Kenya. I think this is a big blow, really, to everyone. And my condolences, sincere ones, to his family, to his constituents, to the people of Nyeri, Central Region, and I think Kenya at large.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I'd want to say is that while people say that he's gone with all the plans, you know, a leader of his status doesn't just make plans overnight, and he doesn't make those plans alone. You know, so for me, I think it's now up to the people who take over to really live his dreams.
That's true.
Because they knew what those dreams were. He had a manifesto that he sold to the people of Nyeri, and they bought it. And that's why they, you know, sort of like, you know, elected him in office. So for me, I look at the incoming, you know, leadership to really fulfill the plans that Daktari had.
Yeah.
But may his soul rest in peace.
Oh, man. May his soul rest in peace. This is not the first time Nyeri is losing their governor. What's his name? Nderitu Gachagua, after a long illness, succumbed to death back in February the 24th this year. And, wow, wow. I think it's just a matter of prayers and comfort, not just to the family, but to the people of Nyeri County and Kenyans at large. We cannot be losing our leaders just like that. Of course, we know the cause of the accident for Dr. Gakuru was not the cause of the accident, really, but wow. I don't know. For me, I'll tell you one thing. Morbid thoughts, morbid conversations. I don't get very, very comfortable, but I can tell you it's also very hard also sitting here and just eulogizing someone who had great plans. And perhaps maybe it will be for the county governments to do something and in his memory just to work out all the plans that he had.
I think the two deaths concerning Nyeri County really brings to reality, you know, the concept of death. Like, death is with us.
That's
it doesn't
right.
matter who you are.
Yeah.
You know, people die every day. We lose friends, you know, relatives every day.
Absolutely.
And death is just a God issue. You know, really, as human beings, what can we do? When it comes knocking, it has come in whatever manner it does. But looking at the death of a leader of a county or a leader of any space for that matter. To me, I think we need to start planning work. We need to start planning interventions. We need to start planning things with that reality in mind, that in the event, you know, the top leader demises, what happens?
That's
you know,
true.
Does it mean that he or she goes with his or her plans, or does it mean that there is a system already in place that should any leader pass on, God forbid, the plans that were there will continue as if, you know, he was around. So to me, that's the lesson I carry away here.
Yeah, with the passing of someone, it's with the passing of someone, obviously there is breed of new, not just ideas, but carrying on with that.
Exactly.
Right, now, the Nyeri governor, Wahome Gakuru, who died yesterday, was 51 years of age, born in 1966. His brief but illustrious political career, Dr. Gakuru projected the image of a technocrat, very young man, very driven. It's unfortunate that the cruel hand of death revisited the county situated at the foot of Mount Kenya. And then 9 months later, I mean, we knew him. He had ran for the seat, the Nyeri gubernatorial seat, back in 2013. And then later on, after now, he took up the seat this year very easily through the just concluded August 8th elections. Now, he had a PhD from Arizona State University as well as a master's degree, and he was also a common figure in town. He was a common figure in town, someone who was known to do amazing things for the people of Nyeri County. He had a majority. He had a majority. From what I read here, there's quite a lot that's been said about him. He was elected on a Jubilee Party ticket, he garnered 279,044 votes, which translated to about 73% of the ballots cast. So the people of Nyeri County really, really loved this man. And one of the things that was distinct about the governor was the fact that he was very keen education. I mean, the day before yesterday, rather the weekend, he had hosted students who were just about to sit for their KCSE exams from Alliance School, Alliance Secondary School, which his son also is sitting for exams. So you can even, I cannot even come to terms with how the son is feeling right now. It's just one of those. I don't know. May his soul rest in peace. But even before we move, we see various leaders eulogizing this man very quickly. We see President Uhuru Kenyatta eulogizing and saying that he was a great leader, an action-oriented man, just to quote what Uhuru Kenyatta said, who, upon his victory in the August 8th election, embarked on serving the people of Nyeri with diligence and commitment. Former President, Mr. Not Daniel Moi, but we're going to go to Daniel Moi's son, Mwai Kibaki, says that he remembers Gakuru as a man of progressive ideas since the days of Vision 2030. Mwai Kibaki also says that he had so much hope and faith in what Gakuru would have done for the people of Nyeri and the people of Kenya. President Mwai Kibaki, former President Mwai Kibaki, comes from Muiga, which is still in the Nyeri County. So he's one man who was very, very close to Dr. Wahome Gakuru. And the thing about Mwai Kibaki and Gakuru was the fact that they had they had solidified their friendship back in the days of TNA, at the time when Gakuru wanted to become a governor back in 2013. So it's painful losing a friend. Of course, most of us can relate to that. And President Mwai Kibaki has lost a dear friend to him. Someone else who has also eulogized Dr. Gakuru is the Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, saying that the country has lost a visionary, selfless and hardworking servant. Amina Mohammed, Amina Mohammed talks of Dr. Wahome Gakuru being a friend, a colleague, a leader that many greatly admired, and his humility. A very humble man. I mean, look at that picture there. Very humble man, soft-spoken. He had a statesman stature, very eloquent in just getting his ideas about him. Governor Wycliffe Oparanya as well eulogized this man. He learned about his death with deep sorrow and shock. He was a professional, hard-working member of a project group that he had prepared for Vision 2030. Amazing man. And then Narok governor, that's Josephat Nanok, says that Gakuru was a brilliant policy maker and was in the team that developed the Vision 2030. So very, very, very instrumental person for Vision 2030. So that vision will be carried forward even after his death. I'm also pleased to have Karl Marx Otieno this morning. Karl Marx, a very good morning to you, looking very sharp. Great to have you right here on New Day this morning. What do you remember about Wahome Gakuru?
Morning, team. First of all, my condolences to the family and also the people of Nyeri, the bodyguard, the drivers. I think it's really shocking and sad news that within a short period of time we can experience that. Governor, I can recall him because he was appointed the director for the Vision 2030.
That's right.
Yeah, that is the time that I came to know about him much. And then during the time that now he came to active politics in 2013, when he contested for the gubernatorial seat, where I think again he lost to the late Gachagua. So he was a soft-spoken man.
True.
But very resilient. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Right. So Nyeri County Deputy Governor Mutahi Kahiga, also known as Teacher, people know him as Mwalimu, he's found himself in a similar position after former Governor Samuel Mwathai was in February 24th, the same time when, what's his name, Nderitu Gachagua passed on. So it's going to be a big shoe to fit for this gentleman. Kahiga is a former Secretary General for Kenya National Union of Teachers. That's why he's called Mwalimu. And he will be sworn in as the new governor of Nyeri after his boss, Wahome Gakuru, passed on yesterday. Now, however, unlike the precedent when Wamathai assumed office in the last months of Gachagua's tenure, Mr. Kahiga steps into very big shoes just 2 months after the elections, and according to the Constitution and the County Governments Act 2012, he will serve as the county boss for the remainder of the term. So we also pray that all goes well between now and 2022. I'm also pleased to let you know that Jimmy India will be joining me in a few minutes from now. I see him getting prepared for that. Very quickly, he'll be giving me his thoughts about Wahome Gakuru. But now we move on to another big story, and that's the Supreme Court petition, which has been highlighted on page 8 of the Standard, the Star on page 2, and the Nation between page 4 and 5. Parties have argued cases over Uhuru's win. The hearing petition was put across, and then there were issues that were raised, one of them including the withdrawal of Raila and Kalonzo Musyoka from the repeat presidential election, and then whether election fails to meet principle of Article 81 of the Constitution, which was on free and fair election, and then the question of irregularities and illegalities. Of course, the division and infighting at IEBC is also one of the issues that will be debated in the courts, and of course also the nomination of candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me, what do you see before we even get to the sub judice of this matter, what do you see happening in this court case? I'll start with you, Carl.
Thank you. This court case, I think first I can put it that it was really a big blunder for the president actually to could have participated in these elections. Because actually it opened up, I think this made almost everything to look like it will be to the court now, because the legality part of it that actually was achieved, because we were actually to make sure that by 26th, that actually the date that was given by the court, that was met. But I think he will really rue the day that he actually decided that come rain or or high water, the elections must be conducted. And so that was really a game. He gambled it, but I think he lost it. It was a big loss during that time, because the legitimacy and even the legal part of it in terms of, like you can recall during a day to elections, I think the returning officers, the High Court actually had some grounds that they were not actually constituted well in the office, and so they could have not conducted elections by that time.
Betty?
So I think there are so many grounds in that will actually make these elections to be nullified, if I'm not wrong. But
you think so?
Yeah. So let's wait and see.
Betty, what do you think?
Well, for me, I think these whole elections and the petitions that have pursued and are still pursuing will really determine how future elections in this country, are held. I think come 2022, perhaps things are going to be done very, very differently, just from the lessons that we're learning.
You're looking at 2022?
Yes, and I think the politics around even the petitions and how the Jubilee government has handled themselves, how IEC has been. I think to me there's a big part of it that speaks to 2022. But my point is that following what we have seen, following the historic nature of the initial ruling of the Supreme Court, I think going forward, the way elections will be handled in Kenya is not going to be business as usual. Now, having said that, I think the petitioners have every right, to petition and place their issues before the Supreme Court. So it's up to the Supreme Court to really determine how to drive the country,
yes.
from here henceforth.
Right.
But some of the things that, need to be determined is what happens now that not all 290, elections did not occur in all the 290 constituencies.
Yeah.
The removal of the 25 counties out of out of participating in the elections. What does that really mean?
Correct.
But there's also another counter argument that, look, it's not that IEBC failed.
It's not that IEBC failed?
It's not that IEBC failed in conducting elections in those counties, but it's perhaps because the environment was not conducive
yes.
for a free and fair elections to happen in those counties. Then there's also the question of Mr. Odinga's boycott.
Yes.
He didn't participate. But there were also procedures that are in place that if you want to withdraw, from participating as a presidential candidate, there are steps to be followed that are laid down by the IEBC.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking those are some of the things that the Supreme Court might want to look at in terms of what does that really mean?
What does that really mean? Right. I mentioned that I was going to introduce Jimmy India, and I'm so pleased to have him here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Very well.
All right.
You've heard us talk about, very quickly, just want to hear your thoughts about Wahome Gakuru, and then we can move on to this case very, very quickly, because I just want to hear your thoughts, and of course my viewer would like to hear your thoughts about this man. Perhaps you could be having something completely different from what we have discussed.
Not really. I think in this, at such a time, the best we can do as a country is to mourn with the people of Nyeri and with the family of Daktari Wahome Gakuru. And of course, to say that as a country we've lost an incredible mind.
Yeah.
He was a former university don and all that, so he's truly an incredible don. But then also moving forward, and after all that, to really NTSA and the rest of the team in the transport ministry to really rethink about our road safety and the training of government drivers, and because the way that accident happened, Tim, someone was either sleeping on the job or it wasn't being driven properly. So I think this is something that we could have been avoided.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We're going to come to that when as soon as I go to the wall and do my traffic updates. But now, this court case that's going to be, I mean, it's a headliner. We know for a fact that, yes, the petition has already been put across. Now, without getting into sub judice, and I asked earlier, what are your thoughts? Is this going to be treated the same way the previous election of August 8th was treated?
The other day, Tim, had seen a very funny headline, and it said that will the courts be bold again and nullify the election? And I thought that is unfair. Nullifying the election,
bold, yeah, and nullifying an election,
yes, because nullifying an election has nothing to do with the courts being bold. It is to say that if the courts found that truly this election was conducted in a free and fair manner, and they uphold it, then the court will be seen not to be bold. But to me, boldness is in standing with justice and truth. So, and based on the evidence that is presented in the case argued before that court. So if the case argued before that court is such that this election will be upheld, then that is boldness in itself from the courts. If the case argued before that court is such that this election was not conducted in a free and fair manner and therefore it is annulled, that is also boldness. So the boldness of the court has to be measured on whether or not it stands on the side of truth and justice.
Truth and justice.
Yeah.
Carl,
yes.
Is he saying words that are music to your ears?
Yeah. Okay, first of all, I mean, let me take it back. There is something that I mean by the, you get back to the reference of the tragic accident for the governor.
Yeah.
There's this mysterious guy who actually appears almost in all the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, I was to mention this. Because, you know, in Nakuru, this guy actually appeared almost immediately after the crash.
But you see the topic of discussion right
now.
No,
yeah. There's a way why I'm bringing that.
Okay,
you know,
fine,
sometimes it becomes very, awkward and surprising that one person appears in almost all the scenes of these fatal accidents that actually surprised Kenya.
Right.
But anyway, now that's aside.
How is it connected to this conversation? That's what I want to know.
Because of the accident that happened, and with the profile, high profile of this guy, and it happens that this happened within Nakuru. We saw the same guy, and also this again. I think somehow along the line, I don't know whether it's by coincidence or what, but we can leave that for another day. Now, getting back to the court...
Is it connected? Because now you've thrown...
He said it's connected.
It's really... you want me to put the way it's connected?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask yourself, how can an individual appears in all these cases of accident and is the only witness who actually narrates on almost everything that's happened in those scenes? So I think I was feeling something is not actually very working well out with that.
Okay, so you're clearing your heart and mind, right?
Yeah, I was clearing my heart and mind over that.
Okay.
So getting back to the court,
I'll come back to that.
I think in terms of boldness, you know, there are two things. Cowardice and incompetency is what has actually made Kenyans always not to stand by what is supposed to be the truth. So when we use the word bold, that will mean that you take the courage that I'm not intimidated, but I work on the responsibility and the duties that I'm actually subjected to deliver to Kenyans the justice.
Who is coward in this case?
I'm not talking of a person who is coward. I'm talking about
institution?
if you're delivering the services to the people,
Okay.
you need not to be a coward. You need not to be incompetent, that you're showing that if I'm threatened or I'm done this, because let me tell you, in all these given duties and responsibility subjected to these officers,
Right.
sometimes they don't find it easier, okay, to do what is right just because of fear of unknown. So if you do what is expected of you, even if it is a want, but you do it right, you'll always get everybody to support your cause.
Betty, Mr. Karl Marx here is just tiptoeing around the whole thing. I've asked him, who is bold? In your opinion, who do you think should be the bold person here? Is it IEBC to defend themselves and say, you know what, whether you like it or not, these elections were free, fair, and credible? Or is it the court, CJ Maraga, to say, you know what, this thing, from what I see, it could either go this way or the other way, but the whole move is bold. I mean, we've heard what Jimmy has said here. So he's tiptoeing, he's very clear.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think to contribute to the boldness, you know, conversation, let's go back a little bit and appreciate that the Supreme Court is not a very old institution in Kenya.
Yeah.
It was born out of the Constitution itself. And this is the second season, or the second time, if you like, that a presidential petition is brought before it under a new leadership, right? So we saw what happened in 2013. We are seeing what's happening now. So for me, the boldness angle comes like this. One, we saw the ruling. It was a historic ruling, not only for Kenya.
Yeah.
I mean, nullifying a presidential election is almost unheard of, you know, in Africa, in Kenya. And you can only count the countries in the entire world that has gone that direction. So that is one. Another act of boldness, really, also was the fact that if we had what the Chief Justice said, he made every judge there, you know, read your own decision. You know, if you're agreeing, read it. If you're disagreeing, you know, also read it. So to me, that was boldness, as showing transparency in, you know, the level of thinking on each individual judge, and also the collective, you know, majority decision. Yeah. So for me, I think the boldness will also come this time, or we also expect to see it, because the same Chief Justice said what? He said that if a similar case is brought to him again and again, and the facts, you know, and evidence, you know, speak to the fact that the elections were not conducted according to the law, he's going to come to the same decision. To me, that was another act or show of boldness. Of boldness. Yeah.
All right.
And then he also said, lastly, that, look, as I mean, he was telling us Kenyans that he's ready to pay the ultimate price. We don't hear those kinds of words, you know, in a court, you know. So to me, that was also another act of boldness. So who, at this stage, to me, the burden really lies with the petitioners, it is up to them to bring the facts.
To bring the facts.
It's up to them to bring the evidence.
The evidence.
Then the Supreme Court will do their job.
Okay. We will be talking about the evidence when we come back after this short break. The Supreme Court petition is what we are discussing at this point in time. If you've just joined us, this is New Day, where we get to ask the questions which you definitely ask. And if you do have a question to ask us and the panel here, you can easily reach me on #NewDayKE, or you can just tweet me at Tim Jiru on Twitter and on Facebook. We take that break, yes, and I'll leave you with the quote of the day. Don't go away, we will be right back.